Join me, and you can learn the full power of the dark side.
What are we talking about today? Yeah.
Hello everybody, and welcome to What Are We Talking About? Today, we're talking Star Wars. There's only about 135 days left until Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, comes out in theaters. So I thought I would share my thoughts on the Star Wars universe so far and my thoughts going forward. And so I would say so far, not so referring to just canon because I'm not that big on Legends. I love some Legends stories, but I'm not completely versed in all of Legends or anything like that. But I do I definitely am a big fan of almost all of the Star Wars video games, Knights of the Old Republic, the Jedi Outcast games, or Jedi Academy and stuff like that. Force Unleashed. I even have old for Nintendo GameCube. I have Star Wars Bounty Hunter, which is a Jango Fett game. Star Wars Clone Wars, which is literally picks up right when Attack of the Clones left off, and you play through the very start of the Clone Wars. And it's actually those are some fun games. I've loved the games. I've dabbled in some expanded novels and whatnot, and Star Wars is easily my favorite franchise of all time, and the original 3 movies are probably my favorite movies of all time, easily. And so I would say I like the prequels a little bit more than most, probably. Well, not most, but the older generation for sure. I was 7 when Star Wars Episode 1 came out. So it sits differently with me than it does some of the older generation, a little bit older than me, because, yeah, to them, it was an insult, basically. Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 2 were like insults to the Star Wars names. 3, I don't think people hate as much, but it's still not the same Star Wars that Episodes 4, 5, and 6 are. But because I was young enough when they came out, I like them well enough. Like, it's just, you like movies you see as a kid, and then they kind of stay with you. I can tell they're bad movies. They're not great movies, for sure. I like Attack of the Clones probably the least. I know people hate Episode 1 the most, but for me, I hate Episode 2 the most because it's the least enjoyable for me. Jake Lloyd isn't great at acting in Episode 1, but Hayden Christensen is worse, I would say, in Episode 2, and the relationship between Padme and Anakin in Episode 2 is frighteningly bad. But overall, I enjoy watching all 6 Star Wars movies, especially 4, 5, and 6. Episodes 4, 5, and 6. 4 is my favorite, I would think, between the 3. It's the movies that I grew up with. Like, my favorite movies that have always been my favorite movies. The Episode 4 is the perfect start to a journey, and it also is, it not only is a start to a journey, but it's also can be a story just in and of itself. If you take Episode 4 and never see any of the other Star Wars movies, you could think that was just a standalone movie. It ends with them beating the Empire. They blew up the Death Star. Darth Vader is, like, just spiraling out of control. Like, it's a toss-up whether he lives or dies. I think that it's an amazingly well done first movie in a trilogy. All 6 movies are great. I've also seen all of Clone Wars, and there's some episodes that aren't great, but there's a lot of the Clone Wars that is awesome. Like, it makes the relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan, actually, it develops it a lot more, and it makes you actually care about Anakin instead of just him being a whiny teenager that you don't care about. I hate sand. It gets everywhere. Like, who cares? But Clone Wars really changed that. It made it so that they developed the relationship a lot more, and they made it so that Anakin was shown as this pilot that he is and the good friend that he actually is, instead of just the whiny teenager and then all of a sudden evil person that we saw in the movies. And watching the Clone Wars really makes the prequels a lot better. Excuse me. And then I would say I've seen Rebels. I've seen the first season of Rebels, and I've seen the Siege of Lothal, and I love it. It's awesome. The first couple episodes were a little bit slow, but right away it got into being just awesome. And Siege of Lothal is terrific. I think it's the first 2 episodes of the second season, and it's just terrific. They got Darth Vader in there. They've had Billy D. Williams as Lando. They've had Frank Oz as Yoda. And for Vader they brought in James Earl Jones. They brought in James Earl Jones for Darth Vader, so that's cool. It's an awesome show, and I'm really looking forward to. There's a new game coming out called Uprising, I think, and it's the first canon game. Like, Star Wars going forward looks awesome. All the expanded universe stuff that all ties back eventually to the movies. I think that's really cool, and a really innovative way to. No other company or franchise has done anything like this before, where they've connected movies, books, TV, comic books, video games. All of that stuff is now canon in Star Wars, and I think this is amazing. And so going forward, we have episode 7 coming out, and episode 7, everything that I've seen from it looks just terrific. Like, the first little teaser trailer I was super happy with. It didn't show us the original cast, but we didn't need it. That's not what this movie isn't focusing on, the original cast, and I'm fine with that. I think that this movie is going to be the Star Wars that we've all been waiting for, the Star Wars sequels / prequels, whatever, that we've all been waiting for, because the prequels didn't do it. This Star Wars Episode 7 will be that movie, at least in my opinion, from what it looks like. It's not like I've seen a cut of the film or anything. They're not even done it, so. But I have a lot of high hopes and a lot of faith in this project, and I cannot wait. Everybody looks awesome. Like, the new characters, John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, Oscar Isaacs, I don't remember the actor that plays Kylo Ren. And then there's Domhnall Gleeson, and Gwendolyn Christie. We haven't seen anything really from him at all, but Supreme Leader Snoke, we've seen just that one picture of Andy Serkis looking all like intimidating as hell, I think, in the get-up for the performance capture, and everything looks just awesome. They're going back to practical effects mostly. Well, not mostly, but a lot of practical effects, and Star Wars Episode 7 is coming together and looking great, and it is literally my number 1 most anticipated film of all time, and I almost still, right now, can't even believe that I'm going to be able to go to a theater this December and watch a brand new Star Wars film, starring Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher. This seems unbelievable to me, and I'm so excited. I can't even explain how excited I am for this. It's unbelievable, honestly. But carry on from that, I think that the fact that they're mixing the new and the old cast is really amazing. The new cast looks awesome. Like, I really like Attack the Block. That's all I've seen John Boyega in. Oscar Isaacs, I don't know if I've seen him in anything. I can't remember, but Domhnall Gleeson, of course, was in Harry Potter. Again, the actor that plays Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, that's who it is. Adam Driver. I can't remember. I don't think I've seen anything Adam Driver's been in, or Daisy Ridley. But I mean, from what I've seen from the Star Wars stuff, all this cast seems pretty good. Like, they seem good, and I trust Disney. It's not like they're gonna pick everything lately. They've been casting amazingly, and so I don't think Star Wars would be any different. And including the Star Wars anthology film. They don't have any cast or anything for the second anthology film, which is going to be the young Han Solo. But for the first anthology, Rogue One, it's not as high. It's not probably my number one anticipated. Maybe it is. It's hard to tell. It's a toss-up because Deadpool also comes out in 2016, and so does Batman v Superman and Captain America: Civil War. So that'll be a stacked year. But Star Wars anthology Rogue One is gonna be a war film, and that's something different than anything we've seen from Star Wars. And so Star Wars Rogue One is looking great. This is a war film, and we've never seen that from Star Wars before. Like for the first anthology movie, I think that this is going to be awesome. I just can't wait. They said that they've got people that worked on Saving Private Ryan and Black Hawk Down and Zero Dark 30, straight up war films. So I just watched Lone Survivor the other day. And something that I need to read up more on what actually happened, because one thing that kind of bugged me about that movie, and I don't know for sure what was real and what wasn't, but just watching the movie, it didn't feel like it felt very like a dramatized thing. That's why I love Black Hawk Down so much. It's super realistic. But overall, the fact that they're making a Star Wars anthology movie is also a very, very big thing. Like, I think Disney is using Marvel and Star Wars kind of to prepare to help each other out. And this is what I mean by that. Basically, so there's two different game plans going on right now by Disney. There is the Marvel game plan, where they're making this big cinematic universe, right? And it's like standalone, team up. And it makes it so that they know that they can have an expanded universe that's not just straight movies like episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like they can have other movies that fit into that universe that aren't part of that necessarily exact same story. Like, they can be a separate story but still in that universe, whether it be Daredevil, even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or whatever. Like, Thor is in the Marvel universe, but it doesn't really affect like, I guess Thor and Thor 2, they do come to Earth, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, those, they don't really affect the other rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe all that much. And so that's what I think they're using that for now. Star Wars, with the spin-offs, and what I'm hoping is that if Star Wars is successful in the spin-offs, maybe Marvel will be able to eventually start making standalone Marvel movies that aren't to do with, like, maybe then we'll get our young Hank Pym movie, or whatever, like Hank Pym Ant-Man movie, or whatever, or different things like that. Black Widow, Hawkeye. What happened in I don't even know, Baghdad or Bangladesh or wherever they were talking about. I don't remember where the place was that they talked about in the first Avengers movie when they're fighting side by side. We could maybe see that stuff if these standalones hit. And that's the thing. They are part of that unit. They're kind of like the standalone Marvel films, but they're different because they are more standalone. The standalone Marvel films still progress the overall Marvel Cinematic Universe story forward. These standalone films, I don't think they will. I think they'll just be cool little stories, and they'll be all each their own individual kind of style of movie. Like, we're gonna have a war film, and I don't know, young Han Solo, what type that'll be, what type of film that'll be. It'll be interesting to see. Probably a little more comedic and stuff. We got Lord and Miller, I think, working on it, so that is a bit of an indicator. But overall, I think that Marvel could eventually start having standalone films that don't really affect the overall universe, and I would like to hope that maybe Marvel could do standalone films that are actually elsewhere stories, whether it be Planet Hulk, if they don't want to have this Hulk in, like if they don't want the Hulk from the Marvel Cinematic Universe going to Planet Hulk and doing that story, maybe they could just do a standalone. This isn't part of the cinematic universe, but it's just like a story we want to tell. Or they could even do other fun things. Marvel 1602 or like Marvel Noir, or like maybe that's how they eventually get combinations of like Hulk versus Wolverine. And they make a deal with Fox where they split the profits to the movie 50-50, and it's just a big Hulk versus Wolverine movie. I don't know. Just, I think that it would be amazingly cool if Marvel started making movies that weren't just to do with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, it's cool, but I would also like to see, that's some of my favorite comic books and graphic novels, is the stuff that's not actually part of the canon of the comic book universe. It's the stuff that's a standalone. The Dark Knight by Frank Miller. That's not actually part of the Batman universe, but it's just like a standalone Batman story, and I love it. It's some of the, like I said, Marvel 1602, Watchmen. I got just my graphic novels here. Planet Hulk, World War Hulk. Like Civil War is part of the story. Like there's some of the stuff. Yeah, I like the comics that are part of the universe, but some of the greatest comics are stuff that's not part of that universe, and it's just like a little Elseworld story. Like I have the What If comic for Age of Ultron, and in it has 5 different what if like universes of what could happen. What if Hank Pym had died? What if I think Thor had died? Like there's a few different what ifs. What if Captain America never woke up from the ice? And like basically it's all the Age of Ultron stories of what if that was the case. And then in the end, basically all of the universes intertwine, and there's these 5 different art styles going on in the same it's just such an amazingly well done stuff, but it's not part of the it's not part of the canon. So right now, the way that the universes are working is that we will only ever get things that are canon in that universe. And I think it'd be kind of cool to start to see things that aren't necessarily part of the canon universe, but are more standalone on the, and they're just a fun story that doesn't necessarily have to tie back into the cinematic universe, both for Marvel or Star Wars. And I think either way, it would be awesome. Like, how cool would it be if we got a standalone Star Wars movie that, like, they could even do it where they put out an animated kids movie that's a Star Wars movie that's not part of the canon, but it's just like, I don't even know, a droids movie or whatever, an Ewoks movie for kids, but it's not canon, but it's still just like a fun standalone Star, and you can enjoy it for what it is, even though you know it's not going to be canon. And I hope that that's the next step for Marvel and Disney, and it's not just always going to have to be part of the universe. As much as I love this expanded universe, or the cinematic universe stuff, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I love both what Marvel's doing and what Star Wars is going to be doing. But I would also like to see a few, even once every 2 years or 3 years, a cool little standalone movie that isn't canon. But I don't know if that would be too confusing for the general audience or what. Who knows? But really, it doesn't matter, because we are getting amazing movies no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter that much. As much as I love to see all that cool stuff, we're still getting amazing movies. I loved Ant-Man. I loved Age of Ultron. I've loved every Marvel movie that we've gotten. And Star Wars is looking great, and I just cannot wait. Hands down, most anticipated movie of all time, Star Wars Episode 7. The way that watching the new trailers and stuff, the way that the shots are done, and the way that everything looks, the world looks, and the way that all of we've seen some of the images and behind the scenes stuff of some of the animatronics and like puppetry of creatures that they have, everything looks so I don't know what the word is, like you can actually, it feels like that it's a real thing, like that you could, if you went to that place, that it would be a real thing. Whereas the prequels kind of felt fake because of all the CGI. And that's the biggest thing, I think, that is going to make you feel like you're back in Star Wars when watching Star Wars Episode 7, is the large use of practical effects and how good those practical effects look. Because in the prequels, there was some practical effects, but almost none, especially compared to how much CGI. Of course, there will be a ridiculous amount of CGI in Star Wars Episode 7. It's 2015. You're not getting away from that. But the skill now is molding the CGI technology with the practical effects. Look at Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. There was a lot of CGI in that movie. Nobody would argue with that. But there was a hell of a lot of practical effects in that movie. They were on location shooting a lot of that of the performance capture stuff, and you can tell that those are real locations. It looks legit, and I think Star Wars is going to be the same. It's going to be a real place. It's going to feel like a real place. It's going to look like a real place, and I am pumped. I cannot wait for this. And overall, the Star Wars universe, not only that, I forgot to even mention, Star Wars Battlefront is coming out before the movie, which I know it's not really much, like, I don't even know if there's a book that also is a Star Wars Battlefront book, but I don't know if the game is canon even at all. It's more like an online multiplayer, like a first-person shooter, which I'm fine with. I haven't played, like, I played Battlefront some, I played Call of Duty some, haven't played any in a while because, I don't know, Titanfall is basically my current muse. That I love Titanfall. It's fun, it's a good first-person shooter. But Star Wars Battlefront, come on, nothing compares. And overall, like I said, this universe is my favorite universe, and I can't wait going forward for the future of Star Wars. And the fact that we're going to get at least one movie a year right now. Marvel just up theirs from 2 to 3 movies a year. Who knows? Star Wars might up theirs to 2 or 3 movies a year eventually as well. And I know people might say that's too much Star Wars, but for me, I'm going to take it all as long as I can get it, because I've spent most of my life not getting new Star Wars movies. So now, I hopefully will get to spend a good portion of the rest of my life being able to look forward to new Star Wars stuff. And that, my friends, makes me very, very happy. But that's my thoughts on Star Wars, the whole universe, past, present, and future. And I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. So put those in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. Put out about 1 video a week, sometimes more. Like, subscribe, comment. We have a podcast, the What Are We Talking About podcast. It's on iTunes and SoundCloud. Rate and review there. Whatever. Thanks for checking us out. Till next time.